say, kids, what time is it?
They can't help themselves. They just can't help themselves. Once again, Eric July's RippaVerse comic comes under attack simply because he's been so successful in selling it, and because he just doesn't go along with their political opinions, and that's it. There's nothing concrete or reasonable behind this attack. Multiple CBR writers attack Eric July's ISOM #1 campaign. One calls customers brainwashed. Unbelievable. Before I get more into the details of this, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. It really does help us grow the channel, and we appreciate every single one of you. Okay, let's take a look at this. Two writers from the alleged comics news website CBR attacked Eric July's ISOM #1 campaign this weekend. Both writers from the CBR site took exception to the pricing of July's graphic novel at $35, making statements that elude him ripping off his customers. Nope. CBR's David Harth tweeted to one of July's fans, "You can go get Saga Volume 1, over 100 pages of excellent comic for $9.99, The Many Deaths of Lila Starr for $13, Watchmen for $25. This isn't good value, you just brainwashed." Harth compares the value of reprints of corporate properties to a self-made pre-order campaign when it would be more apt to compare what Eric July is doing to a Kickstarter or Indiegogo project of the same length of 96 pages. Exactly. These people just go back to the same well, which is pure stupidity. They're comparing apples and oranges, comparing his pricing of his comic to something that's been already released a while ago from major publishing companies that have many marketing resources at their hands to market their comics. All he's doing is he's doing all the marketing on it himself. So the price comparison should be made to the same type of these independent creators. One recent popular crowdfund, Skies of Fire on Kickstarter, offer their basic books of similar length for $30, a similar price point to ISOM #1 book. Mark Waid's Irredeemable campaign had a reprint campaign with its first issue, a standard 24-page comic, at $20. In comparison to those, July's ISOM seems to be on par with what independent comics are. Yes, why doesn't CBR bring up this? Mark Waid's Irredeemable campaign. This is a reprint of something that's been out for a long time. A 24-page comic at $20, and they're complaining about Eric charging $35. You ever hear of a basic concept called supply and demand, by the way? It's been around since humans started trading, thousands of years ago. If Eric July's $35 price point was so high, why did he sell out his initial print run within a couple of days of putting it out there? It's unbelievable. He could have easily priced it at much higher, but he didn't. Another CBR writer, Anthony Gramuglia, joined in the attack of July, tweeting, "Just because I deliberately made it unaffordable to purchase doesn't mean that it's too expensive. One of the best superhero comics ever written, All-Star Superman, costs roughly $30 on Amazon when not on sale. It's 300 pages." Again, you're comparing it to something that was reprinted, put out by DC. How long ago? Unbelievable. David Harth continued an argument with Eric July once the ISOM creator saw the tweets attacking his book. Harth accused July of picking on a nobody for replying to the attacks on his unreleased comic book. Hey, now that you bring that up, unreleased comic book, what are you complaining about? What is your criticism? You don't even know how good the comic book is going to be yet. So hold any criticism until the actual book's been released. You're just comparing it to a bunch of reprints. He also illuminated that there appears to be a policy at CBR not to cover right-leaning books. Yeah, there you have it, right there. We don't cover Comicsgate either, mostly because both you and them are anti all of the things we write about, he tweets. The site used to be called Comic Book Resources before it rebranded to CBR, and one might expect that they would be writing about comic books and comic news, of which ISOM #1 should qualify, as the book has sold more than 50,000 copies from 40,000 customers of this writing. Yeah, so CBR, wants to consider itself a legitimate news site on comic books, but obviously it isn't. They just report favorably on comics by creators, that share their political opinions, but everyone else, for some reason, they just want to criticize and unfounded criticisms. Very few comics from Marvel or DC reach such a threshold in sales, which makes this one of the top-selling books of the year. Yeah, that's the story they should be reporting, that this is one of the top-selling books of the year, and I'm sure one of the most top-selling books of ever. On a live stream addressing the topic, July posits that CBR is admitting that they're a political operation. Yeah, no kidding, and not there to cover comics. That's pretty obvious. Even they admit it. His hypothesis is based on one of Hart's tweet, which states, "That would be like asking why Bernie Sanders doesn't have a column in a right-wing publication." Yep. Saying the quiet part out loud, I guess. The implication is that CBR is a left-wing political blog, not a comic news website. If true, this marks a rare moment where the mainstream entertainment media admits its political biases. It appears as if there's a coordinated narrative being crafted by the mainstream media against Eric July's comics. July's theory, according to a recent live stream, is that companies for these alleged news platforms get access to Marvel and DC books and act as mouthpieces for those corporations in exchange. Yeah, of course. Just going along with everything that Marvel and DC puts out as something really good just because they get access to it. And of course, they wouldn't want to bite the hand that feeds them. How about reporting actually objective, like you're supposed to do when you do the news of any kind? On his live stream on Sunday, August 21st, July said of the matter, "This is the top story in comic books because obviously how many we've sold. But look at how it's happened. It's the most organic story that could possibly exist." He continues, "Not asking anyone to cover this, not paying anyone an advertisement. All this was put out there and I self-promoted it. That's it." Which brings up a great point. CBR and other similar people who give out these unfounded attacks on Eric July's comic are basically just giving him free advertisement. It's free publicity for Eric's book, and because more and more people are going to turn to it as they see more and more of these stories out there. They're not just going to believe these opinionated stories. They're just going to check out Eric's books, and he's just going to sell more and more because of this. With the success of ISOM #1 sales exceeding all but the very top-selling issues in comics, it is one of the biggest stories in all comic news. It seems dishonest to try to suppress the story by not reporting it, which would be a disservice to the readers of comic news website. Yep, so CBR, you want to claim that you're a comic news site, an objective comic news site? Well, obviously you've given up all your objectivity, but if you want to actually say that you're a legitimate comic news site, prove it, because you're obviously not doing it with this attack. Okay, that's it for me. Can't believe this stuff is happening, but yeah, it's out there. Everyone just attacking Eric for his success and for having an actual independent thought. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?